Welcome everybody. Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. Here we are, 13 minutes until the Sloth Rapid returns. Got 13 minutes. Sparkle Horse, Oms, Akshak, Shucky, Beat the Ops, Leon, Cockatiri, it's good to see you back. Sumahara, Replunge, Palots, Asterbait, and Ludwig AC. Asterbait's the only player below 1900. Alright. Yeah, a little banter. Political banter is always good. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Yeah, I accidentally made a political prop bet on a website today. I didn't even mean to do it. I clicked the wrong button and I somehow bet $100 on a bet I didn't want. Brilliant, right? Anyway, make sure you get the right odds when you're making a bet. So it's good to be back, guys. I was in Romania for a week. We had better weather there. It was a lot cooler in a more mountainous area. I'm back in brutally hot, humid Budapest. Okay, we've got a 5-round rapid here. 15 plus 5. Welcome back, Mr. Coffee. Good to see you. Asterbait, as always. We've got Ludwig AC, Shaki, Akshak, Kakatiri, Leon Toluca. In the chat, in the tournament chat, donate. Help Sledgy become the youngest world senior champion of all time. Thanks, Mr. Coffee and Mubot, for the Streamlabs donation link and the Senior World Championship. FIDE. Speaking of FIDE, disappointingly, Dvorkovich was re-elected as FIDE president. What's really sickening to me is that, Anand ran as Dvorkovich's vice president. That's just gross, dude. That is just gross. Anyway, nice to have a Russian as FIDE president. What's up, Bijak? Good evening. What's up, guys? Good to be back. Good to be back. 15 plus 5, 5 rounds. Asterbait is gifting 5 tier 1 subs to the community. The cookie conversation. Accept cookies. Cookie conversation. Mr. Coffee FBI has tipped $10. I'm always happy to support the local FBI. Thank you, Asterbait, Merlin, Fluck, Parmenides. I haven't seen him in a while. Percy Hepworth. And Tranquilizer Grandmaster, the real Tranquilizer, and Amware. Mr. Coffee donated $10. We're up to $610 for World Senior Champ. Saronche is also here. Welcome. Saronche. What's up, everybody? It's so hot that I took a beer out of the fridge and it's almost warm after being out of the fridge for 2 minutes. Alright, it was way better weather in Romania. It was 10 degrees cooler. Really nice weather out there in the mountains. We need some more mountains in Hungary. Hungary is just mountainless. It's you're just baking on the hot plain here. Not fond of the geographical terrain, whatever you call it. The Hungarian terrain, not very good for the summer weather. Alright, anyway, I played one chess game in the last week and it was someone cheating using an engine. No, I played 2. Actually, I won an anonymous game yesterday against someone who played legit. But I've only played 2 games since I left. Visited some friends and family in Romania and also just got away from this oppressive Budapest heat. Alright, but it was good. It was much better weather and I just cleaned my brain out a little bit. It was nice to take a break from chess for 8 days. About 8 days. B-Jock, welcome back. So we have 15 players so far. It's not that hot here, but it's suddenly very, very humid where I'm at. Romania was really good weather. Just a lot cooler than here. I've also got some palinka. I brought a couple liters of palinka back from Romania. I had only one bear warning while I was there. Last year there were more. All right, bear warning. Panda, did you hear that? Sloths are not bears. So what's up, guys? What's new? Olympiad chess. Hungary is terrible. My fish survived. The tank was really cloudy, but I managed to get these like pellets to put on the bottom, and it really liked them. But the whole tank got like cloudy. I had to clean it today. But he did survive. He's healthy. One of my plants did not survive, however. I had like a tomato plant, and I was watering it pretty much every day. It just really needs water, and it just died. So rip tomato plant. Yeah. Taking donations for the funeral of my tomato plant. Just couldn't make it. Looked like he was this close to surviving. Yeah, the Hungarian team was an embarrassment. They had 3 good players and that's it. It's ridiculous. There's so many strong players here. Why do they only have 3 good players? Why doesn't Almashi play? I don't understand. I just don't understand what Hungary was thinking. Like, one of the top players had to withdraw due to COVID. Why can't Almashi play? Is he like too old to play or what? What is the problem? And even if it wasn't him, like Hungary could have fielded like a reasonable fourth player, but they just didn't. It's crazy. They basically played the Olympiad with 3 players. Like, they did alright considering they had 3 players on their team. So Serbia probably did a little better than Hungary. I didn't really follow the thing closely though. It's like India. How many teams did India have? Like 3 teams? India won. Cheesemate is in at the last minute. Is it over? It's not over yet. Is the Olympiad over now? I don't even know. Alright, thanks for the gift subs, Astrobate. Thank you, Mr. Coffee, for donating $10 to the World Senior Fund. Serbia ended up in 20. That's not as good as you should probably do better than that. Hungary's playing in like a 4-man team tournament with 3 players. And some matches it was 2 players because they like rested one of the 3 good players. So you're basically playing with 2 at that point. I don't understand how in the world the Hungarian team like picked their boards, picked the players for the Olympic team. It was like the worst bottom 2 boards for a Hungarian Olympic team I ever saw. Unrecognizable. Armed Forces Open Championship at the Air Force Base near Lakehurst. Oh shit. Lakehurst. Are you serious? Wait, where is that? That's like down near Atlantic City? Dude, is that the Air Force Base down near to Atlantic City? Yeah, that's crazy, man. It's like Uzbekistan, right? That's crazy. The Armed Force Championship is there? I remember driving by there all the time on the way to the Jersey Shore. That's crazy if like, whatever it is, Uzbekistan won the Olympiad. Pretty nuts. Of course, the evil orc team wasn't allowed to play. But still. Open, the Armed Forces is not, I would think, like, usually a very strong tournament. Definitely not Pakistan. Afghanistan won the Olympiad. Alright. Sparkle Horse, Cheesemate, Oms, Candidate Master Oms, Akshak, Shaki, Beat Kakatiri, Ujwal, who's also streaming. Dinakis, good to see you. Sumaher, Repunj, Palots, Ludwig AC, Urek. Urek is new. I think a new account. I just allowed them to enter. Yurun, KK, and Asterbait. I would think like the U.S. Armed Forces Championship varies from year to year, but I wouldn't think there'd be more than a couple Masters. Typical. That's funny though. I've driven by there like millions of times when I was young. Alright. Starting in 2 minutes. I will be playing in the World Senior hopefully in November. Thank you for your support, Mr. Coffee. And Asterbait. Guys, good to be back. We're going to be streaming regularly, but another timeout will be on the horizon because I've got to play in an IM tournament. Probably in an IM tournament. Starting on the 18th. And I won't be able to stream regularly once my round robin starts. From the 18th to like the 26th. Really, really weak IM tournament. I'm not happy about it. The last couple times it was pretty okay. But the field I see is extremely weak. I would be the top seed by like 30 rating points. It's not good. Not happy. The venue was changed to a place without air conditioning. So yeah, I mean the games will probably be on DGT boards like they were last times, but I'm really not happy. It's a weak field. It's in a non-air conditioned venue. I agreed to play, but it would be the last time that I play in this tournament. There's a small chance I play in like a GM tournament. They're having trouble putting the GM tournament together, but I haven't heard about it. I'm like an alternate to play in the GM tournament, which would be good. Be a much better field. I don't really feel like playing like 9 people who are lower rated than me. Not really, the way to improve your rating. Mr. Coffee says, good luck and have fun, everyone. Thank you, and come again. Get out of here and come again. Alright, little Apu. Politically incorrect. So, yeah, I mean, the only reason I played in this tournament was like it had good conditions, and there was AC in August in Budapest. King's Indian. Oh, what am I thinking? I'm not happy. I mean, I like committed myself. I'm not like gonna go back on my commitment, but the field is way weaker than the tournament I played the last 2 years, and it's like gonna be hot. But it will be the only tournament I play before November, so I haven't played at all since last year. And other than the Team Championship, I will get to play in the Hungarian Team Championship First Division, which will be, I'll get a couple of strong games in before November, the first couple of rounds of the Hungarian Team Championship. So at least that will help. This tournament they have me slated to play will be like the lowest. It looks like the lowest possible category, like category 1, 22, like a 2270 sort of average. It's like the worst possible. IM tournament. Which really sucks. Slacking. A6. Alright. So black usually plays E5 and like oftentimes then A6 in these types of lines. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? No, AC sucks. Yeah, man, I mean, I don't have AC, so I'm kind of used to it, but, well, I used to have AC. At least in part of my house, but that stopped working. Yeah. I'm used to the no AC now. But, I mean, for a long chess game, yeah, you're not happy. Well, at least there's no knight b4 here. Rook d1. Rook to d1. What dates may be more pleasant? I don't understand what you're talking about. I didn't get that. Ask T Brown, comment. I don't know what he's referring to. Alright, knight takes. Knight e5. Am I in trouble already? My match? I'm talking about a tournament. Man. Yeah, I mean, it's not a match. We're talking about a 9-day tournament. Every day, one game a day, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, typically. That pretty much puts a damper on doing anything else. Although I might be able to do a morning stream here and there. I'll probably be able to do like a morning stream here or there, but I don't know if I should even bother with H3 at this point. This is probably a mistake. Another mistake. Am I threatening something? B5 F4, winning a piece. That's good. B5 F4. How was your trip? Refreshing a little. I was in a cooler climate. It's a long train ride. 16 hours in the mountains. But it was way, way cooler than here. It's horrible here. Even though the temperature says it's only 30 degrees Celsius, even today it feels like it's like 40. It's so humid. Queen E8. That is a bit of a strange move. I think we might consider A4 anyway. It's a strange move for a King's Indian. Now he goes back to C6. Getting weirder and weirder around here. So what do I do? Black will put the knight on B4. Do I care? This is literally like first serious game I've played quite a while. Rook takes. Pawn takes. He's so quick. Hungary did pretty well. I mean, they had a pretty awful team, honestly. They had 3 players, dude. It's not easy to play an Olympiad with 3 players and 2 sort of like, I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't know how Hungary finished up, but I mean, they lost to like, who did they lose to? They lost to somebody 3-1. They lost to the Netherlands 3-1. I mean, that was pretty pathetic. Their bottom board was awful. The alternate was awful. There's no reason for Hungary to not have like 5 good players on the team. I mean, it's crazy. It's just totally nuts. I mean, they're normally challenging for medal. Wow. No, I don't know how they did. I don't think they did great. So I decided to take back with the pawn here. It's pretty weird that like Uzbekistan could win a gold medal. I mean, that's pretty insane. Can't believe that. Queen d7. How does that work? Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I realize they have that one really strong player, but how does Uzbekistan like win the chess Olympics? I think the problem with like the United States, like you have too many egos on the same team. Too many like stars. China has to be strong. India. How can like Uzbekistan finish ahead of India and China? I don't understand. And the United States. It's pretty weird. Black is lost. He lost a piece. But he's playing blitz chess. Which is like par for the course. What I really need to do is like try to trade pieces here. What about Queen e2? What does he play after Queen e2? Queen g5? Queen h4? I think Queen e2 leaves me kind of awkwardly placed. How about knight e4? There's also f3. This weakens my kingside. It's unbelievable if Hungary finished 8th. I mean, I don't know, man. I think the Olympiad needs more rounds, to be honest with you. If Hungary finished 8th, then that tournament needs more rounds. Because they were playing with like 3 players, dude. They must have. I mean, that's just crazy. I didn't look at the results, but there's a lot of really weak teams, so there's a lot of luck involved, like what pairings you would get. I mean, I think like when you have a tournament like that, it would be better if there were like 13 rounds or something. There's just not enough rounds. Hungary had like one player who I think kind of sucks, and another guy who hasn't played almost at all in the last like 20 years. You know, you have like one player who basically isn't that strong, and another one who doesn't belong there, and another one who like is just completely out of practice. I mean, that's no way to have an Olympic team. How the heck can they possibly have finished 8th? That's incredible. Yeah, but the other guy's like 100 points overrated. And Ach hasn't played in like the last 20 years, so that's crazy, dude. Ach has played like probably like as many games as me over the last 20 years. I don't know who puts this, you know, team together where you have a player who hasn't played at all, practically. That's just crazy. The problem for Hungary was that like Glodora got COVID right before the tournament started. So they lost one of their best players, and that was it. There's no way that Ach is 2580. He just has an old rating and hasn't hardly played late in the last years. I mean, basically everyone I know has lost like 100 rating points. It's like a Yasser Seirawan rating. Yasser Seirawan is still 2590 probably. Even though he hasn't played a tournament in like the last 30 years. That kind of thing. This is getting really annoying. I love it when people have these ratings. They like protect the ratings by not playing. In-game terror. Yeah. Absolutely. I hate playing with like rapid where our opponent is playing like it's bullet chess. Again, it's unbelievable every time. Now he's got 3 pawns for the piece. It's unbelievable. How could he get 3 pawns for a piece here? When you have a Swiss system tournament where there's a lot of weak tournaments, it's like the US Open or something. You have a handful of strong players and like tons of weak tournament teams. So it's just like a crapshoot about who gets like better pairings. That's why the tournament should be like 13 rounds. It's a lot of like shooting fish in a barrel where you're just like beating these weak teams. Who got more weaker teams to play? Not enough matches where the top teams face each other. I think traditionally like chess Olympiads have been more rounds. 13, even more, historically. It should be a minimum of 13. It's like who can beat more weak players. It doesn't really mean anything. What about bishop c8 here? I kind of like that move. Oh, I didn't realize China wasn't in it. Because of COVID. Yeah, it is kind of a joke without those two. I forgot that China wasn't in it. No wonder Uzbekistan won. That's crazy though. Like why can't the Chinese team play? They just isolate themselves or whatever and then go back. It's ridiculous. Wow. I'm surprised by this move. But I guess it's good. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, his play is kind of incredible considering he doesn't use any time for the entire game. I have to say that's quite impressive. Wow, I missed bishop e8 check. I just can't believe how well he plays using no time. It's incredible. He's 1400 in bullet. I don't even want to know, dude. Yeah, I think it's really strange that a country's allowed to have 3 teams in the end. Why wouldn't 2 teams be enough? Like, seriously? Why is there a necessity to have 3 teams? I'm sorry, but that doesn't make sense. You know, 2 teams, okay, I get it. 3 teams? Why 3? Does that even make any sense? 3? Bishop d7? Three to even out the pairings. Seems like really arbitrary. So I want to do go here. I feel like he's like playing to flag me or something. It's just incredible. Up a piece. I like how my opponent is 1400 in bullet. Can someone explain that to me? His 3-year-old son is playing bullet on his account or something. Whatever. He's twice as fast as me, but he's 1400 in bullet. That totally makes sense. Alright. He's literally at least twice as fast as me. Wow. This is a weird move. I did not expect. G2. I don't know how I was making progress. Now we have another request to join the team. What's up, Uber driver? Sigh. Hey, nice lag I've got here. Uh-oh. 956 games. All right. I'm almost gonna lose on time. In like 15 plus 5 here. Dude, seriously, why play bullet chess? Just like take drugs or something if you want like adrenaline. Drink like energy drinks or something. Alright. H3. So, alright, what's the deal? Check. King G1. H2 check. How does this work? He's got some crazy idea. Good thing he can't control the G1 square. Yeah, but he's played remarkably well for someone who's playing very quickly, you know? Without thinking. Especially in the endgame stage. I know Dinakis is an experienced player. What is going on here? I literally didn't have enough time to put thought into my moves. It's always my turn, you know? I'm literally handicapped because I don't have time to think, because it's always my turn. It's never his turn. Now it's finally his turn. Yeah, maybe a bishop versus knight mate. That would be nice. I hope I can remember how to do that. I don't see any other option here. I have to take the pawn. He's basically giving me 2 pawns for the price of 1. Like, he certainly didn't have to do that. Kakatiri, thank you for subscribing. We've got tons of submissions for Thursday's subscriber stream. I know Kakatiri sent one in, but something's happened with like when people submit games to me. The where should I go here? What's the advantage? I don't know. Why think when you don't have to? I get it. That's it. So if I'd gone to F1, would it have helped me? Yeah. So this was a blunder, allowing knight d3 check. Absolutely. It's unbelievable. Stronger and faster than me. I have to play this. Uber driver, how am I going to get to bishop versus knight? I mean, how am I going to get to bishop and knight versus king, dude? Seriously. The whole endgame, like, plays itself. He uses no time for the entire endgame like a genius. 1400 in bullet thing. I don't eat his pawns, dude. Are you actually calculating anything here? How am I supposed to eat his pawns without losing my last pawn? How do you want me to do that exactly? I mean... Have you seen how this guy plays? He uses no time. He plays like a grandmaster in the endgame. After sacking a piece, he basically gave me piece odds and then played like a GM the whole game after sacking a piece for insufficient compensation. Dude, I mean, what's his performance rating in this game? Like 3,000? He literally sacked a piece for 2 pawns against an IM and then used like no time to play the endgame perfectly. I'm lucky I'm not like losing on time. And he's 1400 in bullet. And give me a break. What is that move? That's a weird move. He could have played king e5 there. But I guess this will draw as well, huh? Yeah, I mean, this draws too. Like, I have no way to win. He has this trick. Yeah, king d4, knight c5, of course. It's really weird, man. I mean, he's played unbelievable at using no time in the whole process. It's very strange, dude. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Thanks for the draw, for very generous of you. I'd rather not. It's generous of him to offer me a draw. You definitely don't offer a draw here, you know, when you're like down a piece. Really bad etiquette, but whatever. That was incredible. 1400 in bullet. His play from the point after which he lost the piece is just incredible. He was actually winning. Holy shit. He was actually winning. Oh my god. So he actually missed wins. so he wasn't so incredible. He was winning? What the fuck? Oh my god. Can't believe he's winning here. That's crazy. That's crazy that he's winning. Up a piece. I can't believe it. I made one blunder, but not an easy move to see. I can't believe I actually got a lost position. Here I blundered again. Bishop e8 check? I'm like an idiot. Could I have played this? I don't know. We both had 41 CPL. I had 4 blunders. He had 5 blunders. I wouldn't call it a good game. It was bad. Bad by both of us. Wow. But the thing that I'm most impressed by is his speed. He's literally more than twice as fast as me. Yet playing at the same level. It's pretty impressive, man. Damn, where is the scores? Alright. I mean, I know I haven't played in the last week, but geez, what is wrong with my connection? I am brutally lagged. I have 277 millisecond ping time. Wow. Nice computer. Alright. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't like to reflexively say it was a good game. It's a bad game by both of us. But my only excuse is that I haven't played almost at all in the last week. That's really a great first game, though. Like 3 hours it lasted. Where is my ping? Okay, I lost this guy? Don't remember the situation with that. I remember the Evans Gambit game. No, maybe I don't remember. I feel like I remember it. What's that? Did I resign? I resigned? Oh, he beat me twice. Right, of course he did. He's 1800 and he beat me twice? But that's believable. Yeah. I remember the Evans Gambit. That's about it. But the second game, how did I lose to him again? I resigned, you know, a little prematurely there. I was pretty depressed. But he's like clearly winning. Well, he's probably 1400 in bullet, right? Yeah. Why is everyone so dubious? Do you know this player, Repunj? Someone you know? The first game, I didn't resign early there as well. We're just losing a piece. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty suspicious, obviously. He plays the Evans Gambit, and now he looks like he doesn't know how to play like the opening in the slow Sicilian with bishop d2. That's extremely strange. No, it's not you. This is super weird again. Look, sus. Everyone's sus. 1800s who are 2-1 against me are sus. Look at the opening he's playing. Closely with bishop d2. What is that? And you play the Evans Gambit against e4, e5? Somehow that seems pretty inconsistent. What were those time controls, by the way? Was that probably blitz, I would imagine. I get really paranoid that people that are new are cheating, so I was probably mega paranoid after losing the first game against him. This is pretty weird. Bishop d2, bishop e3. Strange. Yeah, obviously if you won your last 73 games, you'd be suspicious. He's pretty funny. I would say this player is pretty suspicious. He played the first 4 moves like he doesn't know anything about chess, and then it suddenly knows what he's doing. Plus his score against me. How are they in the team after those first games? My problem is that I can't concentrate and play normally when I'm suspicious of someone. How many games does this player even have? I mean, 1700 in Blitz, dude, and he's beaten me twice. That's ridiculously impossible. I mean, the 1 game I could accept, but 2 and a longer game? Doubtful. I wouldn't have a problem if he was, like, rated 2100 or something, but obviously when you're 1700 lichess, you're like 1400 over the board. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, I don't trust this account. Sorry, dude. Totally sus. Yeah, but I mean, The over the board rating is over board rating. You know, you can be over the board 1300 if you didn't play any games in the last 2 years or something. But you can't be like 1700 blitz and lichess and play, you know, and like be like plus scorer against the titled player. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It's totally obvious why, you know, why people would have low FIDE ratings or whatever. I get that. You know, you just don't have enough games and your rating doesn't catch up or whatever. But this is a very accurate rating. I mean, if he's got 635 blitz games, he is 1700 lichess definitely. You know, that's not up for debate. It is not up for debate. You don't go around like with multiple wins against the title player with that rating. And he's faster than me. And he's playing remarkably solid, of course. What do you mean? Like, I'm playing my strongest here. Rook h1, an extremely strange move. I wonder if that's engine. Number one choice. Dude, seriously, I will ban you from the stream. If Rook h1 is the computer's number one move, he is banned from the stream, from the tournament, from the team. Rook h1 better not be the engine move. Let's just put it that way. I think I have to act in the center. Yep. There's no way this player is 1700 or whatever. Look how careful and calculated everything is. I'm sorry, dude. This account is super sus. Here we go. Piece odds. It's the same thing as Dinekis. He'll sack a piece for 2 pawns or something. Why do I have to play this kind of game? Why can't I have one normal game with something that isn't suspicious? Actually, Dinekis is alright, but that game was... just felt weird. I don't think Dinekis is cheating. But it was a weird game to start with. But this game is definitely not a 1700 blitz player. I don't think so, dude. Too subtle positionally. Too fast. Wow, Magnus drew with the 2400? Who was that? As I said, I didn't really pay attention to the results closely. I'm on vacation. I was on vacation. Wow. That's crazy. He just played F4. Maybe he meant to play F3. The readout said F3, not F4. He misread it. Shikto Ivan. Who is Shikto Ivan? Now he totally like turned into like a normal player. Now he looks like he's just real rating all of a sudden. It's really weird. He's like hanging rooks, getting his queen trapped. Moldovan. Must be really young. I've never heard of that name before. G4, of course. Totally normal. Now weight just seems like he's like 700. So he's like beat me twice, but he's really like the 400. My opponent literally went from like 2200 to 400 from the beginning to the end of the game here. It's very strange, dude. Two guys drew Magnus. Yeah, Magnus is pretty solid. To say that's a strange game would be, yeah. Whatever. Alright. Cheesemate has finished his game as well against Pyrat. Kakatiri's still playing. Shaki's still playing. Ludwig AC. I've had two very strange games. I don't even want to think about them. Alms. Let's check out CM Alms. Man, why is my clock frozen? Whoa, that was weird. Our ping is crazy again. Karash, Queen's Gambit. I mean, the first thing that was strange about my opponent was like he plays the Evans Gambit with white and a closed Sicilian. Who plays the Evans Gambit and then the closed Sicilian with 4 bishop d2? Doesn't make sense. But whatever. He started out playing like he was 2200 plus, and then he ended up playing like a 400 at the end. Very strange. Okay, says a solid position. It looks like a classic Tarash. More space thanks to the pawn on d4, so he's equal. He has space to compensate for that. Shaki. This is my first stream back since last week. I seem to have terrible internet. I don't know if that's normal, but my ping is over 200. Wow, you ruined with a crushing 7th rank rook. Is it enough to win though? It has to be hard for Magnus. That's a terrible result for Norway, but they should do better than 60th. I mean, come on. You've got Magnus, and then there's other respectable grandmasters. How could they finish 60th? What the heck? You got Tari, Magnus, other decent grandmasters. I don't really understand, but draw by mutual agreement. Yeah, well, you know, Meyer is a good player. I mean, he could beat anybody. He's not some run-of-the-mill player, dude. Alright. He's not a run-of-the-mill grandmaster. He was like 2,700. Close to it. I think he was. Alright. I mean, any 2700 should be capable of beating Magnus at some, in some one off, definitely, at least once. Uber Driver. Alright, how many games are actually ongoing? Dude, 3 out of 10 for Johann Sebastian. Jesus. So 3 out of 10, that's like a really bad round robin tournament where you finished with -4. But he probably played a very strong field. Imagine if you played like a Super GM tournament and scored 3 out of 10. That's happens. That's ridiculous. Yeah, Ruin can play well. Alright. There's actually 5 games ongoing. Uber Driver. Let's see the longest game ever. Uber Driver against Ludwig AC. Karpov. Karpov has been banned. I mean, those guys, yeah, they must have got really brutal pairings. I guess in a good tournament they would score 5 out of 10. But like, you have Banus for Hungary who scored an 8. He scored 8 out of 10. Whereas Sebastian, who has the same rating, scored like, they're both around 2600. And one scores 3 out of 10, the other scores 8 out of 10. I mean, that's the difference between a great tournament and a bad tournament. Maybe the same level player, but I think Banus is stronger. Well, that's interesting. Alright. But still. It must be hard for Magnus to play for a team doing so badly, but he probably just doesn't take it that seriously. That's why he has so many draws. What does it matter when your team is finishing, when you're not going to play the World Championship anymore, you're not going to defend your World Championship title, and your team is in 60th place? Who cares if you have a few draws? Whatever. Looks like Ludwig AC got his queen trapped, guys. Try to use the time control here. Cheesemate, 1.5. Oms, still playing. Let's see these games. Dinakis, after the way he played against me, he's in great form. Let's see what he's doing. Wow. What a position. Look at this. Dude, what is this? This was a Tory attack? Who would have thunk it? How to wake its like raging initiative after h3. Black dropped a pawn. Yeah, Black played pretty badly. Wow. And Dineka sacked a piece. So again, he's got like 3 pawns for a piece. I don't think like necessarily a good strategy when you're up a pawn for nothing. Masturbate, seriously? Napo scored well in the candidates. Thank you for the update. This update brought to you by Acerbate. Any tactics here for White? Otherwise, he's in trouble. White is in big trouble. He's down 2 pieces now. Jeez. Down 2 pieces and facing mate on g2. The Nekis just went too far. Funny that he actually used his time in this game. How did he use his time? I don't understand. It's such a simple position where he was just like up a pawn for nothing. I guess he tries harder against me. Kakatiri against Oms is getting interesting. What is going on? Triri. Oh no. Mr. Bill. Top international interviewer. Assermate. Dude, Om's had serious problems there. I don't know what's going on now. Maybe he still has problems, but dude, did knight e3 look like a good move, or is it just my imagination? I guess there's still problems, like knight e3, queen f3, threatening rook takes e3. It's kind of complicated. Knight e3, guarding the mate on g2. Black plays queen f3. And if you play like queen g5 threatening mate, black can play f6, for example. Knight e3, there's rook e3. Jeez. Knight e3, yes. Rook e3. Rook c6. Damn. Good point. That is a problem. So you had to play f3. Good thing our hero is here to answer our questions. f3 was probably forced. Man. Dude, this is really sad. If knight e3, rook f1 check. Did you have it now? Cockatier, you missed it. Maybe on the next move after rook f3. Crocatry. Wait, don't you have it like here? I'm probably missing something again. Still doesn't work. But he does have a winning move. Just rook f3, queen f3, and then knight e3. That's a shame. I mean, you actually played a good game, dude. One giant blunder. Basically. Two blunders. One to lose your winning position, another to lose your other winning position. Damn. I think a lot of the players aren't really accustomed to this time control. You know, they're playing blitz more, and they're not like, they don't know what to do with like 15 plus 5. Seems to be the case. They have no idea how to play 15 plus 5. You have like a lot of time. There's no reason to make blunders unless you're like under a minute or two. Kakatiri had a winning position. It's not easy to get a winning position against Oms. I even gave you a hint with knight e3. Okay, it wasn't that easy, but just played too fast. Who was King Kong again? Like a bullet player? Oh, they're from Palestine? We have 2 players from Palestine now. Although the other one... Oh, maybe he has multiple accounts. He like dropped out with one and entered with the other. No, there he is. The other guy dropped out. Maybe it's the same player. He dropped out and started playing with his other account. I don't know. They have to be friends. I mean, how many players from Palestine are here? Bison Morales. Morales in the tournament. Nice. Morales. Was this a Grand Prix attack? Damn, Bisonov. The G5. Don't put your pawns on dark squares, dude. Do not put your pawns on dark squares. Put your pawns on white squares. I think this is a draw. I don't know about G5, though. That really isn't a great idea. Where is Morales going? He's off. Now at least he could go, like, black can go G4. But I don't know if this is going to help him. Morales is... Maybe he's got something. King E4, C4, King D3. He's got to be active here. Bisonov. Got to play actively. King D4, C4, King D3. Morales is tricky though. He might find like Knight C3 check. Though I'm not sure about that. Let's calculate. Knight C3, King E3, Knight D1. Now you have King D3. This could start to get kind of funky. I don't like that knight, but maybe it doesn't matter. You know, Knight C1 check, Knight A2. It creeps out. Oh my god. Knight G3. Who would have thought of that? That's brilliant. Morales would have thought of that. Okay, so now we've got to try Bishop G1. Bishop G1. Bishop G1. Bishop G1. Gotta find it, dude. You gotta find it. Come on. There's no other move. You gotta put your bishop on H2. You're probably got a chance to save the game after Bishop G1. Bishop G1, H3, Bishop H2, Knight F5, like King E2, C5, King F2, G4, King G2, you know, C6, Bishop C7. It's possible black could somehow hold on. I'm not saying it's easy, but there's still a chance. He found it. Probably Morales has it all under control somehow. I think he's got to play H3, and then Bishop H2, and then Knight F5 looks probably forced. Could Bisonov sack his bishop for the C pawn and like get in there on those pawns? It's probably not enough. Although if he gets in on H3, if he gets to force G4 and then white has to play H3, he gets to attack H3. Blake can't defend H3. So theoretically, yeah, time is a problem, but he does have 5-second increments. So Bishop H2, Knight F5, or Knight H5. It's possible there's some tricky move. Knight H5. But Knight F1 is definitely not good. Get your knight trapped. He's got to go to F5 or H5. H5, maybe from H5 you can like attack the H7 pawn. There's some trick. Some sort of useful benefit of that. So Morales should definitely think about this. Like, he's got time, 3 minutes. But I thought like on F5 his knight can be used to like block It can be used to block the bishop, like on d6. For example, knight f5, c5, knight d6, king c6, king d7, or king d5, and then c5, c6, c7, c8. He can block the bishop's ability to sacrifice itself for the pawn. It's an interesting ending. I suspect white is winning. He went to h5, which makes it more difficult to do like blocking themes. I guess he's threatening g3 here as well. I guess I missed that. Ooh, that g3 is nasty. So probably black has to play like bishop e5 here. Yep, good move. That gains a tempo for Morales, sort of. Now we gotta go after the pawn, so king e3. Why king there? Where are you going? Really? You gotta go after his pawns, don't you? You think you can hold this with like passive defense? I can't believe you played king d4. Where is he going? I don't think you can hold this with passive defense, Baisanov. You're just going to end up with your king out of play. He had to go in and try to take the pawns. Now it's like he lost a lot of time. Too slow. Is it enough? King f2, g4, king g3, knight h7, king h3, knight f6. It's a win. Does that matter? King f2, king f2, g4, king g3, king f2. Wait, it's white's move. Oh, black played h6. King d6, king f2, g4, king g3, king e6, king takes h3, king f5. Oh no. What? Are you kidding me? He has knight f7. g4? Oh my god. Maybe Morales messed this up? Oh my god. He should have played g4. So knight f7, g4. He just missed knight f7, g4. But even king takes, knight takes, king g3 should hold. Morales' king needs to be one square closer. Looks like g4 also would have drawn. Wow. Poor Morales. That's tough, dude. Alms with 2-0. King Kong, the mysterious King Kong, 2-0. Uber Driver 2-0. Time is a problem. Time is not a problem. Time is the answer. What's up, everybody? Support our journey to the World Senior Championship in November and donate via Streamlabs. Donation link. Time is not the question, time is the answer. Alright, I've got a point and a half. Is that right? We only played 2 rounds? This feels like 3. My games were so long, the first one was so long. My first game was like 2 games. DNEC is lost. Greece is the word. Olivia Newton-John passed away. We're getting old. I remember like people my age used to have like Olivia Newton-John posters on their wall and stuff when they were teenagers. That's kind of scary. You know you're old. I didn't have an Olivia Newton-John poster, but just saying, I think people a little older than me did. Alright, 1 minute and 14 seconds. Hong Kong. Uber driver, Shaki, Cheesemate, Yarun. Yarun was clearly better and agreed to a draw. Shaki, like... Yeah, I mean, Shaki's probably, like, very close to lost. I don't know what the time situation was. It looks like White was winning a pawn there, come to think of it. But maybe he could get some counterplay. Rook c7, take, rook d6. King f7, rook takes a6, rook d7. Maybe Shaki had some chances to draw that. Let's say a generous draw from Yarun there. Vasanov. Wait, what? 2 draws. Yeah. Vasanov 2 draws. A draw with Cheesemate. Wow. So Vasanov drawing 2 higher rated opponents. What is Morales' rating, by the way? Actually, he's not. Is he not higher rated than Vasanov? He just plays like a master, Morales. Yarun! At least I'm not black. I'm not playing f4, that's for sure. You did John Travolta. John Travolta. Vincent Vega. Oh, you were playing. What happened to the St. George defense? Good idea, not to do St. George. I don't trust that opening. The Sicilian with knight c6 is much better. Where's move 11? He's asked me to work on this Rossolimo for both sides. We're going to be putting some work in on this. No, I think, Morales should be like closer to 2200 lichess ratings. Just doesn't play like rated games. I saw that, Bill. That was your first draw against him. He was 3-0. He was winning though. You really messed that up. I mean, you both did. I think you might have been lost anyway with perfect play, but now Euro's playing the line that I really specialize in here. I don't know if he realizes that. This is like the only line I've played in the last 20 years. So I certainly should know what to do against it. There are a lot of options though, that's the problem. Like there are a lot of good lines against d6. It's hard to decide like which one to play, honestly. It's hard facing your own crappy system. Because you have to decide like which refutation is the best. I think I'm going to go with g6 if I have to play this in the future. People are like preparing for me because they know that it's like the only system I play is with d6. So white should have a good game now. Should. Say it twice. But the thing was, Bill, like I thought you had to go under his pawns and try to attack them, you know. When you brought your bishop back to e5, then you pushed the pawn. Then you moved your king like back, but I felt like it was hopeless. You should have immediately tried to go after his pawns, and I don't know if it works or not. But Morales was definitely winning. After you hesitated and went back and then decided to go forward, it was way too late. That was a funny position, though. You had 2 ways to draw at the end. I didn't see you could just take the pawn on g2 at first. That works by a tempo, but you also had g4, which is really funny. Like g4, h takes g4, king takes g4, and he can't defend his g2 pawn with his knight on wherever it is, like g6. Oli Pals just subscribed to tier 1. 3 months for Oli Pals. Thank you for being a devoted new follower here to the stream. Sorry guys, we're away for 8 days. I'm back now for, what is today? Back now for about another 8 days. And then I've got a tournament here in Budapest. Unfortunately, it doesn't look particularly strong. I have a round robin tournament I'm supposed to play in, starting around the 18th or 17th. After c3, black's supposed to play knight f6. This is a very important move you're in. I don't know if he's listening, but no, I mean, like most countries are not requiring like COVID vaccinations at this time. When I went to Austria in April, I think like we still had to have it. But I'm not even sure they checked, and they were pretty strict. But Romania had no requirement. I'm like quadruple vaccinated against COVID. Whatever. Make sure you've got your polio vaccine, okay, guys? Anti-vaxxing is now causing people to start coming down with polio. It's great. 1 case of paralytic polio in Rockland County in New York means that there's like hundreds of undiagnosed cases, because only like 1% of people get paralytic polio. These crazy anti-vaxxers are going to end up with polio, and their kids getting polio. They're going to pretend that there's no such thing as polio. Polio is not dangerous. It just causes like paralysis in 1% of people. What's up, Move 11? Well, I think we got to go home. You could take on c6. I think it makes more sense to not trade pieces with a space advantage. With Move 11. Sorry you missed the tournament. I was just talking about you. You're probably out there lurking in your lurkum, like the Grinch. Or what was the character in in the Lorax. The Lorax? That would be the Lorax. Move 11 is the Lorax. He's lurking in his Lurkum. And I was saying how I need to work on the Rossalimo. How are things in the Lurkum? Lorax? Yeah, this is pretty ugly. Mr. Softy. But what do we do? What do you do? What would you do? What would you do for this Klondike bar? Do I commit to d5? Play another game, Schnoofy. Play another game, Schnoofy. Bishop f4, bishop g5. It's all good. I kind of like castling. Now h3 feels sort of useless. You've taken the point out of h3, my friend. But there are more useless moves than that. Your great aunt? Oh man. Dude, a lot of people got polio in my father's generation. Definitely worse than COVID. Yeah, it's really weird. The story about that. We need to search what? A search warrant to play d5. Yeah, I mean, opening up his bishop on the long diagonal. White's gotta be better. But the question is it my best move, or is it just a move? I've got a lot of moves I could have played here. I decided to just play castles. Morales is like the only player who actually uses his time, other than me. Queen c7 looks like a normal move, but at the same time, he seems vulnerable to the c-file. I'm not sure that's the right idea. Maybe he's trying to trick me into going bishop f4. I mean, d5 is still an option. White has a clear advantage here. But again, like, the problem is like deciding what's the best move, you know? Probably not this. They're all good. Some moves are better than others. I mean, how do I choose between like bishop f4, bishop e3, d5? Usually I'm facing people who are way faster than me, so I'm always struggling to have time to even talk about the game. The beauty of playing Jeroen is that he plays slower. So unlike most of my games, I actually have time to talk about the game a little bit while I'm playing it, which is a nice and refreshing change of pace. I wish like more of you guys would like take all your time so I could actually talk about the games while I play. I'll have to start paying people off or something. Pay me off. Wait, that's a pretty steady advantage here. Nothing exciting, but it's very important to move 4. As far as my analysis goes, like only knight f6 is good enough to equalize. Kasparov had a game in this line with white, which is something, you know, because Kasparov didn't play the Rossalimo much that I know of. The fact that he chose to play that in a game is pretty significant. But I find very few people who play for c3 It's a good line. Slightly better for white. Are we still here? Are we still here yet? I want to go back to Romania. It's so hot here, humid. I want to be in the mountains with the bears, cooling, chilling, with Palinka and bears. Bears really know how to live. Get drunk on like old berries and chill. Queen b8, averting like the danger on the c file. He has an aversion to danger. d5 takes. That's the problem. d5 takes. d5 takes. Knight e5, trading pieces. Knight a4 is interesting. Knight f3. I'm not in love with this d5 thing. I'm going to play routinely. Yeah, I don't have that much here. Playing careful, maybe a little too carefully. Safecracker. I think he takes. I don't really want to trade knights, so I have to take back with the pawn. And then he plays knight e5. Maybe I had another way to play it, but I wasn't convinced. We're only a little bit better. This is like my... a little similar to how the other player against me, like, who played half the game like a master and then turned into a 400. He's half master, half 400. What does that average out to? So if you play half the game where you're like 2200 and half the game where you're 400, let's see, 22 plus 4 is 26. That's 1300 average. I think his real rating was 17. I haven't punished your own here enough. Only slightly better. Not taking any risks at all here. I think he should probably play e5 actually. Of course, any central move is probably, you know, a good idea. Bishop f4. Bishop f4, queen a7 with massive pressure on the d pawn. It's a nice. That's a nice. Alright, it's basically just like an advanced French. He's got checkers. Checkers Pro. It's a good advanced French for white. Now I was talking about queen a7. I have knight a4 doesn't work because he's on it. Knight a4. Queen e7, knight a4 doesn't work. There it is. Nice move. Where'd you get that move? Where did you ever come up with that? Sir? Mr. Sir? Wherever did you find such a move? Knight e1. Knight d1. The other way to go. Knight d1. Knight d1, knight f5. g4 weakens my king side. Move 11, thank you for subscribing. 62 months. Only 62 months. We're so disappointed. How could you only subscribe for 62 months? Seriously, thank you. How could you? Damn it. Alright. So knight a4 doesn't work. Queen g5 for something new and totally different. Queen g5. f6. Damn it, Jerry. We have to be much better here. So much space. Way to go, move 11. Leading the charge with 62 months. He's gonna set all kinds of records. Founder. Move 11 founder. One of only 2 founders, right? Who is that other founder? Flounder. Flounder. Bob's account was banned? Oh no. Can we unban him? I feel bad now. I forgot it was a founder account. Is he still banned, really? Oh shit, he's Twitch banned? Ooh, seriously? How do you even know that? Man, he must have really pissed someone off. He told us? I forgot. I didn't understand originally. Like, I didn't understand. I thought he was talking about being banned from my stream. It just didn't register originally. He still has knight takes d4, f knight a4. That's out. Out and about. Probably banned for sexual stuff. You think? Of course, he also seems very, very apt to get he seemed to like lose his patience whenever I started talking about politics too. As far as content, more likely that adulterated stuff. But if he like really got angry and started like harassing someone, it would be maybe political stuff too. He seemed to get very uncontrollably angry. Alright, man, your rune's really doing a good job here. I thought his position kind of sucks, but it's actually not so bad. What about rook, queen g5, rook, queen g5, rook g5, queen g5, queen g5, f6, takes. Yeah, what about g4, queen e3, bishop d3. He's catching up on time now. Knight a4. Unfortunately, knight takes d4. Still doesn't work for me. It sucks. What about bishop f1? That's a weird idea. b3. h4. I honestly don't know what to do. This frees up the e2 square. Simon Williams would play h4, right? Nothing wrong with the h4. Wow. There goes the queen side. I feel like I'm playing the exchange Slav now. Overprotecting the strong point. That is... Well, the base, actually. This is the strong point on e5. Correct me if I'm wrong. Base. More base, please. Rook c5 is overrated. G4 is an interesting idea. It didn't cross your mind. Are you serious? It's like very tempting, but it was one of the first moves I would consider, but it's obviously weakening. If I play G4, it makes his F6 stronger. I dismissed it as not the best move, but I almost played it. It's definitely playable. Did I screw up again? Are you serious? Wow. I think he had knight f5. That's probably a better move. I don't know, but Simons Williams would definitely get out the vacuum. He had this one video. I never watched his videos, but he had one where he had a little handy vac and started playing with it on the stream. That's definitely what Black wants to do here. Start vacuuming the C file. Try to get all the pieces off the board. But Yurun just provoked b3 and went back. He's flirting with danger here. I mean, I have knight h5 check. It almost works. Almost. Flirting with danger. Flirting with dollars. Rook c5, nothing special. Knight d3 I wanted to play, but I still can't do it. It's really pissing me off. That is really pissing me off. Queen, no. Knight d3, knight d4, he just grabs the pawn. Probably better there, but not that much. Damn it, Jerry. Wow. Damn it. B4. Sort of a stupid idea. Give him A5. I'm still better. This has got to be a stupid move. The catfish maw. The cat's jaw. I don't know, was some reference to British football or something? What's with the black lion or whatever? Whoa, A4. I never anticipated that. This is a stupid move, as usual. I guess I should play rook c5 there and not screw around. Another super ultra long game. Just the way I like it. Basically my strategy is to bore my opponents to death. That's how we win like 9 out of 10 games. I totally expected him to take on b4 and try to shift to the A file. Wow. Just when I thought he was like playing like too passively, he comes out with f6. Who would have thunk it? Thunk! Take care, Cheesemate. Thanks for stopping by. Thunk it. Thunk it. Jim Thunkett was a Raiders quarterback. Jim Plunkett. Alright, takes on f6. Rook takes f6. Knight d3. Rook takes f3. Nice exchange sack you got there. That's not happening. Knight d3. Knight takes d4. Pawn takes f6. Rook f6. Wow. Wow. Oh my god. Guess I should just play like rook c5 or something. This is really not convincing. This is not what I wanted from this position structurally. I don't even know. Am I better? The exchange sacrifice. We're all dying to see. B5's hanging. Whoops. I guess I should have noticed that last move. Just a minor. Just a bit outside. Minor problem. "99% of tactics do not work." This position is no exception. All that space and I still don't even have a way to win. It's unbelievable. It takes a lot to win a chess game. It's remarkable, isn't it? Jim Plaskett versus Jim Plunkett. I wonder if Jim Plunkett's still alive. He was like quarterback for the Raiders when they won the Super Bowl in the 80s. Apt. There's an app for that. Knack is the word you're looking for. Can you say apt? I have an apt. I have an apt for that. Apt. You could say apt, right? It's apt. That's an apt. Very apt. I like knack better. Can you say apt? Apt. Alright. British English. I have to ask Jim Plaskett. Journeyman, master of everything. Alright. He was playing on lichess. Not a fan, but I did notice that somewhere. I am apt. Yeah. I have an apt. I'm picking on poor Cockatiri's grammar, and he's losing games left and right. Not very nice of us. Power pawn. Pawn of power. Penelope. Pit stop. And the pawn of power. Passed pawns must be pushed. But he's got the blockade. The new blockader. That is kind of annoying. Now he blockades with the queen, or the other knight. Or not. Wow. But man, I mean, it really asks me to push that pawn again. I don't know, it might be beyond. Yeah. Beyond, it's not really looking real safe there if I go pushing that pawn up. So much for that expression. Passed pawns must be pushed. Still, there's got to be a win here. E6, E7, Rook F7, Knight D7. How about that? That practically traps his rook. He has rook nowhere. Oh, that's sick. Rook nowhere. His rook is literally trapped. It only took me like 5 minutes to see that. This was not a convincing victory. 99. Start the bit train. Hype train. Train brain. We got Mr. Coffee with 300 bits. Bill with 99. How do you start a train? We need like 5 donations of some sort. Check. Oh, he's staying in the roped off area. We need to get a little closer. Oh, I could have won his knight. We could try. We need 3 more subscriptions or donations of bits. Stay out of the roped off area. Carol told me to. Rip. Rip Carol. Is Carol Burnett still alive? Or did she die? Bill just subscribed. 14 months with Prime. I can't keep track of like who died and who's still alive. Alright, steady game. Steady as she goes. Astrobate just gifted a tier 1 sub to Nekus. We're close. She's still alive. 89. Older than my... Yeah, same age as my mom. Actually, we just lost... Well, Mr. Coffee, we didn't have a chance to talk about it. Of course. Lieutenant Uhura passed away. Mr. Coffee, our biggest, of course, Star Trek fan. We're all sad to see. Speaking of 89... Lieutenant Uhura passing away at 89, a couple months younger than my mom, who would have been 90 this year. She would have been 90. There was some debate about how old Lieutenant Uhura was, though. Hype train is close. We're close. Just Shatner and Take. Yeah. Alright. Hype train is closed, guys. We need 1 more donation. Astrobate gifted another sub. Where are we? Another sub to ST Brown. ST Brown wasn't a subscriber? Uh-oh. King Kong is 3-0. We got 2 minutes. Oh, he had a forfeit win in round 1. Let's check his last game. Cheese mate lost. Thanks, Astrobate. Damn, my computer is not happy. Got serious lag. I don't think I'm asking too much of it to analyze. Ping of 493. Oh, that's good. Ping of 354. Ouch. What is with my internet, dude? This is my first stream back since being away for 8 days, so I have no idea what's up here with my ping being at 260. Mr. Coffee gifted tier 1 sub to Moobot. What happened? Hype train is close. Damn. Is it time to start yet? Do we miss the hype train? Hype train is close. Where's our hype train? We should get a hype train by now. Where is this hype train? It's close. I guess we need like one more. Should only be like one more. King Kong and Shaki. They both had like forfeit wins in round 1. It's not fair. I had to play 3 games. How do I get paired with Ludwig? Wow. Not even one of the top 3. Crank that starter. Come on. Uber driver, where are you? Who else out there occasionally donates? Morales? We'll start calling people out. Donate now. Get the hype train started. Come on. Hyper train. I've never seen Move 11 like curse before. He said, damn. I don't know, I don't know where we're at with the hype train. My ping is down to 73 suddenly. This hype train has no gas. There's a shortage. You're watching the stream too much. Never too much. Oh no, he took on C6. What is that? Come on, guys. We got a minute. 2 more donations. Or gift subs. Or subs. Someone else. Move 11 just gifted a $15 tip. Gift of $15 doll hair. What is that? Some sort of subtle hint? A doll hair. Bishop D4. Bishop D4. Penguin time. Come on, 30 seconds. 50 seconds. Dude, Move 11 just gifted $15. We're up to 625. That doesn't count for the hype train. Hurry up! The bite of 87. Come on, let's go. C5. Rook B8. D6. What am I supposed to do? Let's just castle. What a weird setup for white. What is this? Weird. Knight takes C6, bishop D4. How am I 23-0 against Ludwig AC? Ping 18, server 1. Dude, we missed the hype train, you guys. Can't believe it. Feel devastated. Come on, it's FBI investigation day. Happy FBI investigation day to everybody. Let's celebrate. Come on. Put another 100 on Gavin Newsom. I accidentally bet $100 today. I didn't even click the button. It was ridiculous. And I can't take my bet back. Totally bogus. Getting 7-1 odds on Gavin Newsom for Democratic nominee. That's ridiculous. I would never bet getting 7-1 odds. I bet on 21-1 odds. You know? Party Poker just cheated me. Wow, what is this? Queen A5, Knight D5, Queen D2 check. Open the can of whoop ass on your... Yeah. Open the new can of Corona. It's so rare to drink Corona in can. But another question. Alright, I went to Fridays. Does anybody ever go to TGI Fridays? I don't think this has necessarily any bearing on Friday's restaurant, but there was this guy who ordered a beer. It was like a Corona. But the weird part was the beer came like there was a big beer glass filled with something, and then the Corona was like stuck down into it. So he had like a drink, and then inside the drink there was like a Corona shoved into it from the top. Like, what is that? I never saw anything like that. Do you know what that is? Does anyone know what that is? What is that? Rook B4? B4. The farmer, Emma the farmer, where's Jim? It was like a double drink. He had like a glass of alcoholic beverage of some kind with a Corona stuffed down in from the top. It was the weirdest thing I ever saw. I had no idea what that is. I never drank canned Corona. Like a bottle of Corona shoved top down, like the neck of the bottle down into the drink. What could that be? Is it like some weird margarita with a beer stuck in it? Or I don't understand. That was so weird. I still don't know what it was. What is Ludwig AC? Ludwig AC is back. A vodka smash? Really? Is this a thing? It was a big glass, so I mean, I don't know what it was. It's like 2 beers or double beer? It was a graveyard smash. The monster mash. Desperado. Maybe Euro knows what he's talking about. Desperado. Alright. I promise not to sacrifice the exchange. Just kidding. I would never do a thing like that. The Solancy attack. So my friend, who loves to play the dragon and sack the exchange, who's like a decent IM, he's now like, he's like 70 years old and his rating is now like 2,000. He must like sell his games or something. I mean, I don't know. It's just ridiculous. 2,000. He just lost to like 3 Indian 8-year-olds in a row or something. Look at those pieces. Something's got to give here. I mean, if there's not a tactic here, I would be very, very surprised. Ludwig AC score against me is 0-23. How is that even possible? He played in like 1 million Simul games. He really lost them all? Surprising. So is there a real thing in Desperado? Soroche? I've never seen a drink with a Corona like stuck down in it before. I didn't know what that was. Man, what do I do here? D5? I mean, D5 is certainly plausible. Plausibility. Reached my 2-beer limit. Sorry, you've reached your 2-beer limit. I'll take your keys now. I've got 2 liters of Palinka in my mini fridge for anyone who wants some. Too dangerous. I wouldn't think of opening it. I just use it to poison other people. Does this even work? I think it works. For example, like CD5, I mean ED5, CD5, knight D5, knight D5, bishop D5, queen D5, bishop G7, queen G5, check. And I win a piece. But I really thought there was something cleaner here. A cleaner. No answers, just more questions. Party polka. Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, if you make a political proposition bet on party poker, you can't, like, cancel your bet once you made it. I'm like, oh, okay, that's nice. So I just, like, bet $100 on something I don't really like, but it's alright. I now have, like, 2 bets on Gavin becoming the Democratic nominee for president. One where I have like 21-1 odds, and the other one where I have 7-1. So now I have like $200 at 14-1, which I guess isn't so bad, but not what I intended. I mean, if Joe Biden like dies or something, the odds are going to go through the roof. It'll be like either him or it would be either him or the vice president. I guess open test thought political bets are illegal in the US. I don't live in the US. I don't know, are they? Yeah, I guess so. But I'm a European resident. I love like making bets that that won't even like happen for like 3 years. It's a long time. Three years is a long time to wait to see whether your bet worked out or not. Alright, rook takes d4. It's a little too long. Definitely not like betting on football. There's no way that Donald Trump is like the favorite to win the presidency of the United States. Like right now you can go to Party Poker and place a bet where Trump is like a 2.3 to 2 or something favorite to win. Like there's literally no way he's a favorite to win, even if Biden is looking shaky. Like the FBI just raided Trump's like it's crazy, dude. There's no way that Trump is a favorite. It's like easy money if you bet on Trump, on like the Democrats to win. Of course you could lose, it's like any other bet, but I mean it's like burning money not betting on Trump losing in 2024. Of course, what could happen is I bet the Democrats win, and then Trump doesn't run. You know, that's probably better for the Republicans. If Trump doesn't run, I could lose my bet, more likely. But a lot can happen between now and like 2 years from now. Seriously. Rook takes d4. You want to sack this? Man, I don't know. Bishop g4, f3. I want to sack the exchange, but I don't really know what I'm doing. Rook takes d4, rook takes d4, knight somewhere. Rook takes d4, rook takes d4, knight e4, rook e4. Knight e4, rook e4, pawn e4. I mean, I still think I'm better here. I mean, this is not a discussion about politics. I'm just talking about like betting odds on politic stuff. I think that the bookies at Party Poker got it wrong last time. Pretty big time. I got really good odds where Biden was a heavy dog, and I made really good money on the last election. I think they're making the same mistake again. But it seems like maybe they want to suck people into betting for Trump. There has to be some logic behind it. Why the betting sites are offering they're offering, like, you know, good odds for Trump. I don't know. There must be a logic behind it. They have to know that that's not really true. After the last time, I think a lot of people lost money on betting on Trump. People who just bet based on emotion. Yeah, they're more likely to bet. It's some trick. You know, that's exactly what it is. They're more likely to make stupid bets based on their, you know, who they want to win, rather than, like, you know, scientific or mathematical, statistical reason, you know. I think that the bookies know that Trump's not a favorite, but they're going to lose, you know, they're not going to lose that much on the winners like me, and they're going to win more on the guys who bet that Trump will win. Putting down huge bets, you know. Like when Trump won, I think a lot of people put down some huge bets. Mr. Coffee would know more, though. Yeah, the odds should be decided, you think, by the wagers placed. But like Move 11 said, yeah, the other side is more likely to bet. There's probably a lot of truth in that. So I'm sacking the exchange. Change. This is a good exchange sack. He doesn't have a bishop. Actually, I have bishop a6. I didn't even see it. I'm not sure I even want to play that, honestly. Like, his rook, is his rook really worth a bishop? I don't know. I'm just dabbling in political prop bets. I don't know what I'm doing. I would never attempt to do sports betting. That's like a science. But I just know if there's clearly, like, if you're gonna give me good odds, I'm gonna take the bet. There are clearly giving away money to people who are willing to bet against Donald Trump. It must be based on the bets, like you're talking about, Mr. Coffee. Not like a bookie just projecting odds. Because, like, Trump being investigated by the FBI, I mean, that should, like, seriously reduce his odds, like, immediately. The VACAY just, like, is down a piece. It's weird. Just like down a piece for nothing. I always tell people you should trade pieces when you're up material, so I guess I'll be a good example here. Check. Be a good example. Happy FBI Investigation Day. It's a new national holiday. Now I have given up a rook here. Asterbate was really excited about it. But I don't know, man, like if I had money like bet on Donald Trump to become the next president of the United States, I would be like shitting my pants right now. Because I would never do something like that, but alright. Not that it's really surprising, but it is kind of surprising. I think it would be that dramatic. I think he would lose anyway. Like, what? I don't understand why, like, some of the, like, DeSantis is upset defending Trump. DeSantis should be, like, happy. Maybe he'll have a chance of running for president, you know? I guess he's just pretending to be, like, up in arms. We are up peace now. We are up peace. Insurrection Day. Independence Day. Armageddon. What other action movies? Where's Arsenal fans? Speaking of action movies. Alright, this is looking like long odds for our hero. Make America Great Again Day. Make America Not Suck Day. America. $30. Going for 30. Eventually I'm going to win your pawn, you know. I just don't know how yet. I know, checkmate. Checkmate is a good answer. You had that move. Wow, look at that. Prolonging the agony. Alright. I'll trade you. Yeah. I have a good feeling about this. Dude, he's seriously dragging this out. But it's nice relaxing. I can drink my beer. I think the opening was kind of interesting. Bishop e3 takes, and then bishop d4. I feel like I missed something. Move 11. I had this weird feeling I missed something stronger in the opening. Was rook b3 mate? Of course. It's always mate. Since when is rook b3 not mate? Alright, that was enough. Enough! Back to tournament. DNEC has slowed me down, but I'm back to 3.5. Hong Kong. King Kong. King Kong Shaki. Alright, this is a big battle. King Kong versus Shaki versus King Kong. Uh-oh. Shaki with no time getting destroyed? He walked into bishop a6, but I suspect he probably had a lost position anyway. Let's check this out before the next game starts. So what is this King Kong dude's deal? He's like 4-0, actually 3-0. Is he legit? Is he sus or is he legit? We did beat him. He did make a blunder. So he looks... I don't know. One blunder, no inaccuracies, no mistakes. 23 moves. I don't know, you know. This doesn't prove anything. He played a really ridiculous opening. Oh, this is that crazy wing gambit. Wow. So check this out. He knows this? Interesting. He knows this. Not a lot of people know this line. But rook b1 I've never seen before. I thought like most people play d5 there. David Grobler. That's not a name I want. Grobler the Gobbler. Bishop d2. Johann Sebastian Bach against Agdestein. Blunder. Calmly refuting. I mean, okay, honestly, like, Shaki just went berserk. So I'm not going to be suspicious of everyone. Shaki literally played a really berserko sort of game. Missed this check. So literally, does he have a draw by rep here? Shaki's refusing a draw by repetition with like bishop d2, queen e5. Yeah. You could even play like, I don't know. This is risky. b7 is best move. Queen e2 is best move. Rook d1. Another top #1 move. I don't know, I mean, this is a blunder. Rook 8, another blunder. Yeah, I don't know, I mean, it's hard to say. Black could be suspicious. He just doesn't have enough games here. I don't like the fact that his blitz and his bullet are so low compared to the rapid, but that's not unusual. I don't want to be suspicious of everyone, but you know, I don't know. You can't decide if people are legit or not. Shaki's a really irrational, crazy player. He can play well, but he can also just go completely over the top. Looks like he went really over the top there. Let's see. Open window. Zeus. What were Higgins' dogs on Magnum PI called? Trivia question. Mr. Coffee? Acerbate? Anyone else who lived through the 80s? Do you remember the name of the Doberman Pinschers? Higgins' Doberman Pinschers. What were their names? Stole your buy. Did I start the last round? What? You got a buy already? Didn't start the last round, did it? My game was... Oh my god, I'm in the game? King Kong? Oh no. Perfect tournament. Thank God it's not rated. Let me guess. No London. So I played him one game. That was crazy. Remember that? It was even weird that he resigned. It was super, super weird. Yeah. I don't really trust this account. Just played F3. What did he play last game? It was black. One blunder, no inaccuracies, no mistakes. Dude, I'm like paranoid of everybody, but, you know. Not that many people know, like, the very best line against this. You looked it up. Dude, how could you cheat like that? God, Mr. Coffee. I can't believe it, man. You didn't watch Magnum PI? Asprey didn't even answer. It was good at the time, not something I would rewatch. You know, I've rewatched like every episode of Kojak. Every episode of... What else? Star Trek. I think I watched every episode of Starsky and Hutch, but I'm not sure. How did you know that? I probably mentioned it on a previous stream. I didn't really watch many episodes of Starsky and Hutch when I was a kid. I probably just caught a couple. Seen Elsewhere is 2. It's good. It was a really highly critically acclaimed show, but too depressing hospital show. That's a really critically acclaimed series, though. I started watching like Hawaii Five-0, but I couldn't get through the whole season, all the seasons, that easily. Like, dude, what is this guy's deal? $1977. You're 1977 in Blitz, and you're like winning this tournament. That last game you played against me, even the final position was like surprising. He resigned. Like, I don't think so. Those Dutch guys, you know, like the Netherlands is the #1 place for expatriates to relocate because everyone speaks English. And how do they all learn English, right? They learn English in school, but they practice English by watching American television, probably. They probably have like every American television show on rerun in the Netherlands. How do they get so good at English? Highly suspicious. There's no way you could correlate this guy's like blitz and bullet ratings with his strength of play already. And the last game I remember, that was epic. How did I even win that? Queen A4. It's like perfect move so far. Sure. I hate this, like I'm paranoid of my opponent like during the game. No, I don't trust this. He's too perfect. Yeah. Hill Street Hillberry. He's getting confused. Hill Street Blues. Police drama from the 80s. Maybe I should just resign here. Probably the most sensible decision I could make. I liked, speaking of police shows, the older Barney Miller, totally different vibe. Hill Street Blues was real dramatic. Was maybe the same producers as St. Elsewhere. Night Court. I like the comedy sitcoms more than the dramas. Please don't bust the computer on me, dude. I really don't want to play computers. This is a friendly tournament. It's genuinely hard to tell if people are using computers. It just seems too accurate, and I don't know. I should just resign here. I don't trust this at all. It's hard to play when you can't trust your opponent. I don't know. Queen b4, pawn takes c6, sacking the queen. That'll probably be instantaneous. You guys have to see the epic game I played with this guy, or this account, the last time. It was very, very strange. I won, but I'm not even sure the final position was easy to win. Resigned in a very strange moment. So what do I do now? Looks like a perfect game by White so far, which I was afraid of. Knight e5, rook takes c8. Maybe I can take with the bishop. White still has clear advantage. What I missed was knight e5, rook takes c8, rook takes c8, queen takes a7. That looks bad for black. Knight a5 leaves my knight really off sides. I wish I had time to commentate and text, but I have, I have to actually calculate my moves. It's easier if you don't. The moves just come to you. It's much easier that way, isn't it? Moves just sort of come to you. Actually calculating takes a lot of work and time. Sure. I don't trust anybody. Sorry. Especially no one that I've only played like a game or two against. Too perfect, dude. Offer a draw. Why would I offer a draw? We'll never learn anything from that, will we? Uber driver. So queen b4 is a queen sack. Anyway, it's probably like winning for white. I don't know what to do. I don't like my knight on the side of the board, but this dropping a7 is really bad. It looks like I'm probably lost here. But I mean, if he's cheating, then I can report the game, If I offer a draw, like, what can I do? If he takes it, I can't like say, oh well, this guy's using a computer. He took my draw offer. I don't know. His ratings are extremely low in Blitz and Bullet, especially the Blitz. But it's interesting. If you take some players, I mean, it's possible. He's like almost 300 points higher in Rapid than Blitz. It's a little too much. Especially considering the fact that he's played like more Blitz than Rapid. That's kind of suspicious. But, you know, maybe 200 points is not that uncommon. But it's the way the game went. You know, the first game was crazy weird. But he knows a lot of lines. Like, the last game against... Honestly, the last game he played against Skaki, even though Skaki played crazy, like, very, very, very few people know how to play that line with black. He knew the line, like, perfectly, how to play against that weird, totally, almost, like, extremely rare wing gambit. And now he knows how to play against the hyper-accelerated Queen's Indian. Another opening that, like, practically nobody who's like 1900 in Blitz on lichess would have a clue how to play that. So honestly, his like playing the openings is pretty sus. But you know, maybe I'm just paranoid as usual. I figured I'm like basically on the verge of lost here. Now he played a completely human move, Queen d4, which I'm very much certain that's like not White's best move. It does seem like a human move. I can't help but be suspicious when I play people and I've only played them 1 or 2 games. And, you know, it's all I can think about. I hate when people cheat. I literally went away for vacation for 8 days. I played 2 games that were unrated. And 1 out of 2 of my opponents cheated. They played every single move. Every single move they played was engine in this one game. And I almost, like, drew the computer. I was really, really close. It was a Roslimo. But I mean, when you play through like 30 moves and the opponent played the top engine move, 28 out of 30, that's pretty good evidence. But I mean, who cheats in like unrated 10-minute games using their computer? Like, is that like a training methodology or something? Yeah, this is the only move I was concerned about. Bishop f4, probably best. Looks like Queen d7. I hope that I'm wrong, you know. It's not a suspicious account, but it does concern me, his rating differential and the fact that we had a weird game and the fact that he's 4-0. If you get enough circumstantial evidence, usually something is true. Like my previous life. Wait, what happened? Rook e8. Nothing special. It's like a Grudenfeld. He seems to be human, finally. Of course, you can never know. Like, all my opponents are cheating unless I win. Uber Driver would have offered a draw. But I'm a half point behind, you know. If he's not cheating, then if he's a legitimate player, offering a draw would be a huge mistake here. If he's a computer, then I'm not learning anything about if he's cheating or not. I mean, if it was like a tournament Uber driver and there was prizes and like I would win the second prize, maybe I would think about offering a draw. Yeah, I love it when they give you more time. But I'm at the point now where I'm not sure white is better anymore. I thought he was virtually winning because my knight is so offsides on a5, and he had better chances probably. I could be wrong. I mean, that was the critical moment where I spent all my time. And I still think white's hanging in there pretty well here. By no means is he like lost, because he's structurally worse. What do I do? He has knight f4. Maybe rook e8. This driving his queen to d3 feels to me like a good idea. Then I have the opportunity to win a pawn. Yeah. I'm lucky my bishop's covering d8 actually. Because you have queen d3, queen d5, bishop d5, rook takes e2. And now he doesn't have like bishop h6 because my bishop covers the d8 square. This is a far more combative move, queen f4. Again, it feels human. I can't afford to give up my dark square bishop under any circumstances. Absolutely. That's pretty funny, man. Bishop a1. I like that. You gotta give him credit for having a sense of humor. This uber genius. Another resource. Mama says f5. Mama says knock you out. It's a very risky move, but at the same time, that knight has to be stopped. This is a crazy situation. You should see the first game. This is why I'm a little skeptical. I mean, honestly, like, the guy who played the first game against me, who's 2240 in Rapid, like, he can't be 1900 in Blitz. I mean, he's just too good. I barely won that game. You know, unless he, like, quit Blitz 2 years ago and started playing Rapid. I mean, it's like tank, and make the best move. It's a little weird. The d5 square looks kind of soft. He's so close now with that passed pawn, so well coordinated. You know what the Soviets do here? for white? The Soviets. Dude, they attacked the nuclear reactor. I don't know, man. Build a base around the nuclear reactor. What's the secret? You're not gonna say like sack a piece on F5. That might be a computer move. Ascended Solar said in Soviet Russia the players get captured. Former military. I don't know. I mean, it feels weird to go out bishop a6, but I really like wanted to use this square. I've graduated from calculating. It's the last game. I'm tired. I want to go home. They take political prisoners. I don't know, man. What do they do? They sack a piece on F5? Computer might not agree with that. It's like an IMSO. You could sack a bishop on F5 too. Thanks, Ludwig AC, for playing. We're not really sure what Uber Driver was referring to. He must be making some reference to, like, yeah, Zurich 1953. It's like some kind of, yeah, dude. It's like Bronstein from Zurich 1953. There's nothing suspicious about this opponent. He's seeking his cues from Uber Driver now. I'm forced to the last. I mean, I could have some kind of tactic, you know, with like bishop d4. No, these pieces are out of play. It's like a same-ish Nimzo. But thanks, Uber Driver, for the subtle hint for our opponent. What did the Soviets do here? With all those pieces attacking the f5 pawn. Why don't you say it like that? They go full like Yefim Geller. And again, Queen A4 doesn't look like the nuts. He's actually not threatening anything. Famous last words. Tee hee. B-Jock is still here. Another epic game with this player. I figure I've been lost at least once in this game. So far. Do you want to try for 2? Knight c6, Queen f6. One blunder and I'm toast in this position. Managed his time pretty well. $1980 bullet, 1977 blitz. D7. Take a bit off top. This is my only idea. This looks real engine-y. Rook e1 check, rook takes, queen takes. I can play knight d8. I guess I have to blockade. Looks like an engine win for white. I really don't know if I'm facing a human or a computer. It's extremely hard to say. I don't think I should trade queens, but I don't know what choice I have. Feels too strong, man. Man, it's unbelievable. It's just a little bit much, no? Wow. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess a draw is good. I don't think that I'm better here. I might be equal. The computer might disagree. I don't know. He offered a draw to me. He was winning before. Really strange game. GM Tranquilizer rating with a party of 18. My opponent had 5 blunders, 1 mistake, and 2 inaccuracies. More blunders than small mistakes. Surprisingly, I wasn't lost until the end when I allowed that sack on f5. GM Tranquilizer, what's up, man? Thanks for joining us. I just got back from Romania yesterday. I was in Shepsy St. George. Pretty close to you. A little too close for comfort. We were only about... I was only a couple 100 kilometers from Tranquilizer. Within striking distance. I decided to leave him be. It was much nicer though, man. I mean, the weather there was so much like better, a little more elevated in mountains, and Budapest is awful for the weather. Good to see you. How's the Olympiad? How did the Romanian team do? How did they finish? Yeah, this was a weird game. I was actually fine until the f5. Wow. f5, knight takes f5 engine. Thanks to Uber Driver for suggesting that for my opponent. He actually played the computer move here, d6 first. And my bishop a6 is a blunder. That is a very, very tense position. And now knight f5 is winning for white. Wow. So I'm not surprised. I'm lost here. Queen d8, and he played the wrong move. Queen g4 is winning, and he played queen a4. The Romanian team, total disaster. I mean, dude, I don't understand like how the Hungarian team finished well. Someone said they finished like 8th. That's too bad. I mean, the Hungarian team was basically playing with like 3 players. I just can't believe they managed a good result without Gladura or Almashi. It's suicide. There's like no way. I don't believe it if they finished in the top 10. That's crazy. But I mean, you know, I was saying, I don't know what you think, Levente, but it seems like the Olympiad should be more rounds. You know, it's like the U.S. Open, where all these, like, there's just tons of weak teams and not that many strong teams. I mean, shouldn't they have like 13 rounds or something? It's like a contest to see like who got like easier pairings or something, you know? It would be much more fair, I think, if you have at least like 13 rounds. That's crazy, dude. How did Hungary finish 8th? I can't believe it. I know like Banus had a good result. The top 3 guys played really well, but I mean they just basically had 3 players. I mean Ach doesn't play, you know, and their 5th board is a joke. Without Gladura. I mean, you got a guy who never plays, and that's amazing that they finished 8th. That's crazy. Romania 44th. It's terrible. Then I think the Romanian team is actually decent, so that's really disappointing for you guys. But again, you know, I think there's a lot of luck involved with the pairings. Anyway, so, yeah, draw. My opponent wins the tournament, I think. Let's see. Another weird game. King Kong wins the tournament naturally with a performance of 26-19. Nothing suspicious about that. I had a really powerful performance here. 2273. Nice. I crushed it. A 4 out of 5, and I have a 2273 performance. It's awesome. That's incredible. Dinekis, though, got third, and he deservedly played really tough against me in the first round, so that's not the first time. I think he finished third. Shaki with fourth, Ludwig fifth place. Wow. Bisonov, Uber driver. Uber had to miss a couple rounds. Thank you, Levente Vita, for dropping by, guys. Check him out. Tranquilizer here on Twitch. Now the Olympiad's over. I don't know, man. Back to puzzle. You're going to be back to the puzzle streak without the Olympiad to stream. I'm going back to Rapid Chess. I've got a really weak IM tournament to play next week here in Budapest, which is horribly disappointing. I'm hoping like they need a player in a GM, but we'll see. All right, guys. Again, thanks to Levente, thanks to Mr. Coffee and Asterbait as always for all you guys. Take care, Tranquilizer. We'll see you around, guys. Check him out, Tranquilizer here on Twitch. All right, Bisonov 6, Uber Driver 7. So Jeroen is 8th. Ujwal, sorry if I mispronounced that, in 9th place. And Kakatiri. Tomorrow morning stream. Yeah, shout out to Tranquilizer. Thanks, dude. He's been very supportive. Rating our stream when he can, and appreciate it. So, without further ado, I'll let you guys go, and congratulations to our winner, the 2600 strength King Kong. He's 2600, but he's 1900 in Blitz. I don't know. Anything's possible. I'll see you guys later. So I finished second. Congratulations to Nekis with third. Good tournament, guys. I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye. Let's do a raid. Actually, let's see. We got a raid? Yeah, we'll do a raid. Chess Bia. We raid the Chess Bia. Been a long time. She's not usually streaming. Thanks, Trank. Chess Bia. Other Hungarian friend. Goodbye. All right.